Hello everyone! For those who watched my last video, I visited Old Strathcona, but lamented about making a video about trains and railways, but it had no trains in it. And honestly, it felt a little bit empty to me. So, I went back to Old Strathcona, this time to ride the streetcars that are operated by the Edmonton Radial Railway Society. So stay tuned and I'll show you around. We arrived just as the streetcar was exiting the car barn for the day. We took a few moments to admire the streetcar as they got ready and switched their direction.
Oh, he's coming out to the front.
Lyndon was a bit surprised at how we had barely made it to see the streetcar come out.
There's lots to get ready.
Don't worry, they haven't forgotten us. Their first stop is over at White Ave. Finally, we got to board.
Alright, good morning everybody. Welcome to Edmonton Radial Railway Society's high-level bridge streetcar. My name's Mike, I'm the conductor for this journey. Up at the front we have Cliff as our motorman, driver. We give a bit of a commentary going northbound. We also have to open 4 gates, so we can stop in 4 more times. First thing I'm going to point out is this sort of room building here. That's a replica of the original station in Edmonton that was located near White Avenue. It's actually a replica because when they tried to move it years ago, it fell apart. So they rebuilt it, and it currently houses the archives of our society. Now the track we're on is not the original streetcar route. We're actually on the Canadian Pacific Railway right-of-way. Streetcars in Edmonton originally went down the middle of White Avenue. There were 2 tracks going down the middle of White Avenue. Then they turned north on 109th Street to go over the High Level Bridge, where we'll rejoin the streetcar route. If you look to the right, you'll see this very steep hill. Stagecoaches had to go up there. You caught a ferry, crossed the river, and you walked up behind the stagecoach because the hill was too steep for the stagecoach. The horses to put you in and luggage up. So when the railway did come to Edmonton, I think 1893, the journey time was reduced to 12 hours, only costing $5 one way. Still a good chunk out of a man's weekly salary.
The silence was almost deafening as the 2 motormen headed out to open up the gate. The car we were riding is the Melbourne 930, which once traveled the streets in Melbourne, Australia. It was built in 1947 and has a top speed of 37 miles per hour or 60 kilometers per hour. It transports about 50 people comfortably, but has a crush capacity of 140.
So despite the fact that we lost the tunnel at each end, you'll notice there's graffiti on the wall, the local art gallery here. There's so much graffiti, there's graffiti on top of graffiti. You may wonder, why is there a tunnel in Edmonton when it's so flat? Well, the tunnel was originally built to go up the busy junction on the south side of the High Level Bridge. And many years later it was extended when they built a condominium complex. We're going under the car park.
the streetcars can travel quite fast. Their usual speed is about 17 kilometers per hour, or 10 miles per hour. The streetcars did not have speedometers, and the motormen would time the speed of their car using their watch. The city also had officers who would time the cars and monitor for speed violations. And of note, there is no record of any motorman ever being given a speeding ticket.
Coming up on the right side of the car, a passing siding. That's the only place we can pass when we have a second car operating, which we will from about just after 11 o'clock today. On the left, you'll see gradually coming down, you'll see a paved bike trail here. That was one of the original ramps the streetcars used to get from street level onto the top deck of the high-level bridge. Where the sidewalk is now on this side is where the other ramp.
Downtown Edmonton came into view as we paused before continuing on the high-level bridge.
The wall. You'll be approximately 50 meters off the river, which is a similar height to Niagara Falls. So this bridge took 3 years to build, over 100 years ago. It was completed in 1913, so it was quicker to build than our latest white bridge there, the Waterloo Bridge, which took much longer. Now if you notice, you'll see rusty girders each side. Originally there were 3 tracks on this bridge. Where the rusty girders were there 2 additional tracks for the streetcar. They were taken up and they closed the system down after 1941. If you look at 2 o'clock, you'll see a low brown building, the old green beyond it. That was the last site on Fort Edmonton, the trading port on which the city is named after. It had several sites. At the time this bridge was built, at the time the legislature was built, the fort had fallen into disuse.
Finally, we were reaching the opposite side. The ERRS volunteers really do an amazing job of telling the history of the area, including where the streetcars used to run.
Bushes on each side, it's all overgrown. There were 2 ramps going down, back down to street level, each side of me. That's where the streetcars went back down to street level. Next to 109th Street. It'll be approximately 4 Ks from where you started on White Avenue. So our turnaround time there, pretty short. Return ticket is valid any time, so you can come back any time today, tomorrow, next week, next year.
Cool.
So our turnaround time is pretty quick.
Let's go on to the other side.
It was neat seeing them prepare for the return journey.
Oh, neat. Huh. I've never seen that in use before.
Since we were here, I wanted to take a short walk to get a view of the high-level bridge. Apparently, the city attempted to purchase the high-level bridge so that the LRT could run along it, but by the time they purchased it, the bridge was no longer fit for use. The LRT runs on the lower bridge, which you see in the foreground. After some waiting, the streetcar finally made its journey back across the high-level bridge. It was amazing how long it takes to cross the entire bridge. We headed back to catch the car at the government center. And we made it in good time. The car can be seen in the distance. The commentary that the motormen provide is on the northbound direction, so you can enjoy the sounds of the streetcar on the return journey. We also stopped by the museum. They have a variety of historical photos and descriptions of how the streetcars provided service on both sides of the river. Timetables and examples of the uniform. This is the high-level bridge when it was being built. And this was the end of the era, with a huge turnout of people to ride the streetcar one last time. Fortunately, the ERRS has strived to capture the memories, restore and operate the streetcars for people to enjoy. We were also in for a surprise.
It's still being
The
used.
second car that they brought out was the 1921 Hankai Electric Railway streetcar, which operated in Osaka, Japan until 1990. As a side note, this was the streetcar we had rode on years ago when we first came to Edmonton, so we were delighted to see it still in use. They also have photos of their fleet, many of which operate at Fort Edmonton. I hope you enjoyed seeing the streetcars and learning about the Edmonton Radial Railway Society. If you visit Edmonton, it's worth taking a ride. As always, thanks for watching.